as far as I can understand Tagalog, like the script that has been played by the three today, I had let's say I need someone who would explain this stuff. So I think it would be safer for us all to if I speak in English. So that I want to talk about one day. It was just like a day that, just like today, there was a lot of celebration. And just like today, there has been a lot of songs. Because why? Their hearts were filling. Their hearts were joyous. And I cannot imagine how they've been singing, but we know some words of their song. I will read at least one stanza from here. And there it reads, "Who is like you, O Lord, among gods? Who is like you, glorious in holiness, fearful in praises, doing wonders? You stretch out your right hand, the earth swallowed it. You, in your mercy, have led forth the people whom you have redeemed. You have guided them in your strength to your holy habitation." This is one stanza of this prominent song of Moses. It was a glorious day, the day where it was about, where it should be remembered and will be remembered, because it was a day where God showed His mighty hand. Now, here, God has shown Himself wondrously and truly in a beautiful way. They could not have imagined how they could have come to this situation. But God had saved them. God had redeemed them. They were on the other side of the sea. They were across the border. They have left the country behind. And all those who were pursuing them, God has stopped them. He did not only stop them, but He made them to vanish. They were gone. And now they were free. The Israelites were free. They were no bondage anymore. What a glorious day. But it's just half of the story. Just half the story. Here, they've been set free from the hands of the Israelites. But when we look continuing to their story, we will recognize something else. Here, we see that they have been freed from Egypt, but their hearts were not. When you look into their journey within the wilderness, you see that their hearts were still anchored in Egypt. They were looking around when the time came when they were looking for water. They were murmuring. When their mouths were craving for meat, they were looking back. And it continues on. There was this murmuring and murmuring behind because of this one reason. Their hearts were still anchored in Egypt. They were still bound there. And had their hearts not been still in Egypt, were still anchored, were still touched, chained there, their whole experience would be totally different. Most probably their journey would be only 40 days and they will be right in front of the border of the Promised Land. There would be no of this tedious wilderness experience had their anchor been somewhere else. Not in Egypt, but on solid ground. On a rock. And even though if their experience would be stormy, it would be safe. Because their anchor is firm on that solid ground, on that one rock. The winds would beat against maybe the ship, the waves would be meters high, but they would be at that same place and they would be secure. And the that anchor, that storm, as we all know what that anchor is or who that anchor is, that storm will vanish as well. And with the anchor, it symbolizes something else. When you put down the anchor, you're in one place, right? And I think that John has made a very interesting way of saying this. He uses another word, and I think it's a word that you all kind of knows the ring of it. It means abide, right? When you say you abide, you're sticking to something. You are there the whole time. And it says here in John 8, we all know the very prominent verses in chapter 15. Abide in me, and I will abide in you, right? But in John 8, there it says as well, if you abide in my word, you are my disciples. And then the next verse is, I believe, something that we all know. And you shall know the truth. And then it says here, the truth shall make you free. And when we do this, we will be free from all of Egypt, physically, but also mentally and spiritually as well. And that's what we're looking for. And that's something that no man can give. It is a freedom that is truly heavenly. It's truly that only God can give us. And then, when we are that free, we will be singing a song as well. Just like as Moses has sung after that Red Cross experience, there will be another song as well. And it's also stated here in Revelation 14. Revelation 14, there verse 3, there it says, and they sang it as it were a new song before the throne, before the four living creatures and the elders, and no one could learn that song except the 144,000 who were redeemed from the earth. It is an experience of redemption, and I pray that we all will have this new song in our hearts as well. And I think, and I pray that as we are celebrating today this beautiful Independence Day, right? We are also ought to think forward to that Independence Day when God will take us from this day. And so I would like to do a closing song for today. Yes? So I would like to invite you to stand up with me, and we shall have a closing prayer. Let's bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, it is a wonderful day, O Lord, where we're able to pour our hearts and express our feelings, O Lord. You have done great deeds for us, and we want to remember and thank you, O Lord. Heavenly Father, you have not only been a Savior, you have not only been a Redeemer in the past, but you are also a Redeemer in the future, O Lord, and for us in the present. And let us remember that as always, and as we walk day by day, step by step, and make a song that will be there in the end, but be always in our hearts daily. And we thank you for it. We thank you in Christ Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.